Hey gamers, welcome back to Fire Chicken Review. We're going to be talking about the Keyforge Winds of Exchange on Gamefound here by Ghost Galaxy, and it's already raised close to 330,000, 1,700 backers basically in just over a day and a bit, and it was funded in 27 minutes. So clearly people were super excited, including myself. We're going to dive into today. Should you back or should you not back? With the caveat, of course, I'm a huge Keyforge fan, so I do have some inherent biases, and we're going to go over the overflow of what we see on the campaign page. And right away, right up front and center, they have a Winds of Exchange video. When you click on that, it's going to show you the Crucible Keyforge video. Very smart of Ghost Galaxy. It's used from when FFG had all the videos, so they just removed the FFG symbols and just replace Ghost Galaxy at the end, but it shows you like, hey, what is the Crucible? And I love the layout. They're like, what's the project story? Why are they doing it? Why back now? And they're saying, hey, basically, it's super important to back now. There was a hiatus in Keyforge, for those that don't know, they're backing it as a board game, and it's been on hiatus for about 2 years in the bit. And there was also an issue, as you see here, about the software. You can read more about that in other blogs, or I can make a video. Just comment below if you would like to see more information about the software, but basically they have to remake the software, and so this is all helping towards it. Plus, they bought the IP from Fantasy Flight Games, so they want to really make sure that there is a community, because it's been on hiatus for quite a while. Communication, this is a strong point. I can already say that communication has been great with Ghost Galaxy, not just with myself, but many members have reached out, and they're getting answers fairly quickly, sometimes same day or just within a day or two. And this was in comparison to Fantasy Flight Games during the last year and a bit, where communication was a little bit lackluster. So it's been nice to see the communication. And why is Gamefound, one of the reasons why Gamefound is good right from the get-go is a lot of people, if you watch my other video there talking about the different pledge tiers, they were wondering why there wasn't a pledge tier with that just had decks alone, and so they responded and they made the new pledge tier. So that is the give and take about Gamefound or crowdfunding. It allows the creators talk to the backers and have that communication, so that they can see what they thought in their heads versus what the community wants, and work together. And then they say, yeah, there's going to be a lot of awesome stuff. And then they dive right into the game. This video here is like the original Coda video, which was the first set for Keyforge. And so they, again, very smartly, why make new videos? There's already videos out there, so they just use the Fantasy Flight game one, removing the logo, placing theirs at the end, and it tells you how to play the game. And then if you don't want to watch the video, they have just a quick little chart here, and this chart quickly shows you like, how do you win? Okay, that sounds good, but how do I play? And then they talk about, well, here's how the game turn is. And honestly, they have a video a little bit later that's about 6 minutes long by Geek and Sundry with Rebecca Scott, and I can tell you that it does take only between 5 to 10 minutes to learn how to play, with the nuances building up over time to master the game, of course. And then afterwards, of course, talking about what is Winds of Exchange, what are the 7 houses going to be, and well, who's the new house. So definitely take a read about that. And then even for previous Keyforge players like myself, we haven't seen token creatures, so they talk in depth about token creatures here. If you want me to talk about that in a different video, let me know. I can definitely go into details about that, but it's a nice little read here. And again, how to play with Geek and Sundry and Rebecca Scott. Good 6-minute video. It's cute. It does the job. And if you're a new player, definitely recommend watching it, because it doesn't take much time. And then you're like, oh, I think I get the basis about the game. And that's what is really good about Keyforge, is that it is a strong community, very quick to pick up. And it's not just one group of individuals. It's a very diverse group playing the game. For the reward tiers, I'm going to skip over the reward tiers. If you want to know more about it, basically I think the $150 pledge is the best bang for your buck, and that's why it's also the one that is up most versus going in chronological order, because Ghost Galaxy also basically agrees that most people are going to see this getting one display as the best bang for your buck, plus all the additional items, right? So definitely check out my other video. Comment below what pledge though that you're thinking about backing. As you can see in the corner here, I backed at the 750, which is the highest pledge currently, and yeah, let me know what you think about that. Again, I have it in my other video if you want more information about the pledges. So what's cool about they already have unlocked some stretch goals, and I won't lie to you, the campaign is doing extremely well, raising over 300,000 and getting closer, 330,000 basically, and getting closer to the 400,000 goal. When I saw that the first stretch goal was initially 250,000, I was like, whoa, I thought the campaign initially was probably only going to make between 3 to 400. And so clearly I was quite wrong. There's a lot more Keyforge fans than just myself. But you also have to take it with a caveat that so far there's only about, what was it, if I go back all the way to the top, it is 1,600, 1,700 backers, like I said. So, I think that their end goal is hopefully around 4 to 5,000 backers, and that's what they're most likely looking for. And really cool, quick little bit. There's a legend tier that if you want to skip over the stuff like I just did, going into stretch goals or whatnot, you can just do that, which is a nicety that Gamefound has versus Kickstarter. So clicking on the stretch goals, there's been some confusion about the first one that was unlocked, which is the free token creatures. And so it was unlocked at 250. I would like them to see them to actually fill this out so that it matches what you see in the add-on version. Because when you click on the add-on version, it gives you the detail. So to break this down, because it was confusing for quite a few people, is that basically it gives you enough tokens to replace every single card in your deck, or place a token on top of every single card in your deck. So there is 36 tokens, cards, and 2 sets of that. And so what's really cool is that you can actually use these token cards if you have clear sleeves, and use these as card backs so that you have your token creatures right away. On the reverse side of it, it has the other token creature. For those that don't know, there's a possible 4 different types of token creatures per house. And so you're getting 2 decks of these basically. It's like getting 2 Keyforge decks, but it's just 2 token decks for a specific house. So that'll be one of them has 2 token creatures, another one has 2, basically 1 on each side, just like it shows, and that's why it shows the 4. But you're only getting it for the 1, so that's why it has this list showing the 7 different houses, and you're going to get all the tokens. So this is really cool. So you're getting the first add-on is basically this, a $10 value. It is not for all the houses; it's for a specific one that you're going to choose. So that is the first add-on. And speaking about the next add-on here, we have a really cool one here, is that basically we're getting another deck. So you're getting an additional deck no matter what pledge level currently you're at. And they said that basically they're going to do some sort of special treatment, whether if that's foil or different type of a back. It is a Gamefound exclusive. So this is, I believe they say this is going to be a Gamefound exclusive as a special badge. Yeah, so with an exclusive graphical treatment, it doesn't say Gamefound exclusive, so it's. I'm curious if this will show up later on, but I'm assuming it is. So I'd like to, hopefully Ghost Galaxy clarifies that. So that was the second one that we unlocked. I think people are going to be super excited. I'm curious what that's going to be. They'll probably reveal more closer to the middle or end point of the campaign. And then the third one that we're looking at, this is a super cool one. Basically, it's called an Unchained deck. It's kind of like FFG had the decks. What was it called? There was decks that like were I can't remember. It was like decks that weren't actually possible. Impossible decks or something like that. But it doesn't matter. This one is saying that basically these decks won't be permanently legal, but it's closer to what Richard Garfield originally imagined, where there isn't a set algorithm to the cards, because the current algorithm, for example, a house has to have at least 3 creatures, and there's a bunch of other things that go into it. This just says that, yeah, you want 12 rare cards in one house, it's possible it can happen. But because it's more of just a fun thing, this is just going to be a non-tournament legal at the moment. But they may have special tournaments where they do Unchained tournaments, which would be super cool. I like the idea. Definitely take a read about that. That's going to be a fun stretch goal. And then the next 2 ones that they have, and we are getting closer, is the Crucible languages ones that you see here. And the first one is at 500,000, adding French, German, Italian, Polish, and Spanish. I believe this is basically based off of the current languages that were the most popular and sold the best. So I think we're going to hit this no problem. I think this one here, the next one up, the Chinese, Korean, Portuguese, and Thai, is going to be a little bit more challenging. I would like to actually see this dropped a little bit lower potentially. I think that if we hit 500,000, it'd be nice to have both. Or if they just said that ideally they would get these out right away because they would bring in more backers, right? But I understand that they've mentioned at the beginning of before the campaign even started that the languages were based off of how much they were raising and how much interest was in Keyforge, because it does cost a bit of money to do localization. And then the add-ons here, going through the add-ons, basically, I've already talked about the token creatures. Basically, the top three here are the add-ons that I would recommend depending on what you're getting, like what pledge. I think the token creatures, people are going to potentially get one or two of these. This is okay. I think the starter set is basically for new players only, except the one interesting thing is that it does come with two new learner decks. So learner decks are tournament legal. They're not going to have the barcode or um, the QR code, I should say, to scan the deck. So these are going to be two learning decks that are going to be in each of the starter kits. So hopefully I can like actually borrow or get lent some of this, because I don't need the tokens or the rules, because obviously I played quite a bit. And then it comes with two seals. So this is fun. The only problem with this is that I would recommend getting this on the retail side and not through the Gamefound, because it's going to be cheaper when you include shipping and tax and all of that. You might as well just get it, because this is, I believe, most likely like the MSRP costs of the starter set. So I would get this at retail. But if you're not picking up too many things, yeah, and you want it right away, this does make sense. So that's the starter set. And I think what is going to be a bit of a hot commodity item, unless you're already backing like myself at the highest pledge tier, is this Winds of Exchange collector set. Basically what it is, it's one of every single card from the set, which is super cool. And so what you can use this for, obviously not tournament legal, but you'll be able to make decks, which kind of goes against the whole idea of Keyforge being a unique deck builder. But what I like about this is that in the very board game aspect, or a very casual aspect, it now gives you the opportunity to build these crazy decks without having to buy a bajillion decks. So if you're really into that, I would consider, even though it's $60 each, I would consider picking up 2 or 3 of these if you just want to do it as a board game, and you don't care about collecting decks and you don't want to do that. Well, you can pick up, I'd say like 2 to 4. Most likely about 2, really, because it gets a little bit pricey, about 120 for just 2, right? But from there, you'll be able to build all kinds of decks. And if you're more interested on the Keyforge Adventure side, now you have all this customization and you can try different scenarios. So it turns it more into a board game. For the collectors out there, that's also just a fun little thing. And then for the people that, like myself, that play on the competitive side, it also gives you the opportunity to basically not have to proxy an opponent's deck that's super strong. You could potentially use these cards, put them together. If you know that you're going to be going into a tournament with very well-known decks for like an Archon tournament, well, now you can have friends build these decks, or you build the deck and have your friends play them against you so that you can prepare. So that's a little bit more of an advanced play, but I think this is more overall for casual play. Highly recommend it for those that just want to play casually and aren't backing at the highest pledge tier here. So the next ones here, these are all retail ones. I'm not 100% positive on the playmats. We'd have to get confirmation, but I think basically all of these, except maybe the Keyforge Adventure playmats, because these might be a little bit more hard to find, because not all stores might be carrying these. I don't recommend any of these, because right here the deck are $13 each, which is the MSRP that Ghost Galaxy is saying for this. So I would not back these individual decks. I would just get another pledge, because if you get another pledge, you should be getting all those stretch goals and whatnot. It might, and so if you're getting 3 or 4 more decks, I would just recommend getting 6 decks, spending the $65 versus the $13 a deck, because otherwise, why not just wait into retail? But that's my point of view. Totally get why they have this here, just for people that want to add onesies or twosies. And the same goes for the playmats. I think the playmats is the actual MSRP price for these playmats. I love this Brobnar one, by the way. That's the one I'll be picking for sure. With the pledge tier that I'm at, right? But if you look at this, so if you're saying these are 25 bucks each, when you go to the Reaper of Amber here, and what's cool is that you can click on it and then click on each individual ones. When it says that you get 2 Keyforge, so you're getting 12 decks, you're getting 2 playmats plus the custom stuff. But if you click on this, what's really cool is it will go up here. So you're saying that these 2 decks that you're getting in this $150 bundle are $25 each if you want to add on additional one. So that's a bit pricey, right? So you may as well consider trying to group up with another friend if you want 1 or 2 more playmats with your pledge. So say, hey, I know that you only want 6 decks, but hey, I'll buy the other 6 decks, and if you do that, you'll be able to get some additional playmats without having to spend the additional funds. So this one's definitely weaker along with this because I think the pledges are better quality and better savings for it. But you can get all 7 houses, of course. So let me know what you think about the playmats. I think this is not a add-on that I would get. And then the Keyforge Adventures is situational because potentially local stores may not carry adventures. They might want to focus on displays. And if you're wondering when you're reviewing all this that you didn't see a retail pledge, that's because Ghost Galaxy has a deal with Asmodee. Everything retail-wise is going to go through Asmodee, so for distribution, and that's why there's no retail items here. So take that into consideration. I'll also be supporting my local store for sure. And then they go into the reviews. The reviews by Shut Up and Sit Down's super funny. I've watched this one before. The Dicebreaker ones I'll have to check out at a later time. Never seen that. Then getting into the shipping, there is going to be more discussion about the shipping. Overall, the U.S. shipping is very well priced in my opinion. It seems inexpensive. The Canadian shipping, I think, is a bit pricier than I would like to see. I haven't done shipping within Canada for a while. I know it has gone up a little bit more exponentially than the States, but it used to be about $5 to $7 difference. I know it's gone up to about $10 difference, but when I'm looking at the difference between these ones, like this is a $9 for like one of the lower ones. This is 16. This is $15, right? Like this is the shipping estimates here for the Canadian. It's just a little bit too high, and I understand that the most likely the reason why here is that everything going to the Canada is probably coming from the States, so they're probably having to pack it and then send it to Canada versus when it goes to the retail, there is Asmodee Canada, so that's why they're able to get further reduced costs on the retail end most likely. But yeah, I'd like to see the shipping reduced a little bit more here. I won't talk as much about the other spots around the world because I don't know them as well. But I will say that the UK, for example, and the euro, they will be paying the 20% tax. And it says for Canadians that this applies for 98%, but if you're in like remote areas, there might be higher shipping fees. And there's a reason, there's a caveat here, and we'll get to that here in a minute. But overall, the prices are fairly fair. So again, for me, I'll be paying $50 shipping for a $750 pledge, which isn't unreasonable. I'm also splitting some of my displays, so that'll help split between players. But what's interesting about the Euro, Asia, Australia is that these all say that these are based off of 300 plus pledges. So right now we're sitting at 1,700 pledges. Most likely, most of that is within North America. So there may be we'll have to wait and see. Some of these might be tight. I imagine that these will start to go up, but hopefully they do reach it. And the other thing that I thought was interesting here is that, again, getting back to the Canadian shipping. So for the Turn of Keys, it's 49 US, and we're super close, depending on where you are in Canada, to the distribution where it's coming from, most likely Minnesota. But like over in Europe, it's going to be cost cheaper. And then even in Australia, it's going to be cheaper depending on where it's located. Like the main cities are going to be cheaper. But getting back into it, Euro, Asia, and Australia, they all have this 300 people pledging from that local area, and that makes sense. They're basically saying that we need enough people to actually get a good price matching for when they're doing the shipping. And little caveat here that they say, unfortunately, there's some spots that they can't send it to. This is the same for all crowdfunding. There's a few areas because they're hot zones or they can't localize a good spot. I know like Brazil for a lot of campaigns. There's the rhyme and reason for it has been for a lot of different campaigns, not this one necessarily, has been that it's just that they can't find something that was at reasonable cost, so they didn't want to charge you an arm and a leg. Yeah, so then they mentioned duties and taxes. So like I said, there's going to be 20% VAT tax in the UK. The euro is going to have VAT as applicable. It has the United States talking about Minnesota because that's where the Ghost Galaxy is located at, and then the other states it's going to be as applicable. But it's odd that Canada's not on here, so I would like to see this update to have Canada as well, because I imagine that the tax is going to be 13%. Depending on where it's at, like this is Ontario base. But it would also be nice to say, in addition, like, is it going to be duty friendly? It mentions that basically that you're going to have to pay duties as necessarily compared to your country. But I would have thought that the US and Canada should have duty friendly, but most likely on the retail side, because Asmodee has its network, that's why it's going to be like produced locally. It should be fine. But I guess I'm curious about this. Are we going to pay duty and taxes? It's a little bit confusing because we're trying to add up because some of the pledge levels are going to be higher. So don't fully know. Maybe they'll talk a little bit more about that. But the last little bit about all of this, the reason why they have these large lists of all the different shippings and they're trying to really nail it down is that this is the first a game on Gamefound that's going to have the stable pledge. Just came out news just a couple of days ago. Basically, it says that if your pledge, the shipping, and all of that, if it becomes more than 10% more than what the estimated or what you initially pledged before before the campaign closed, which this one closes in 16 days. If it's more than that, so if the Canadian shipping for like the highest tier, like I said, went from 49 to like 130, you would have backers like myself potentially be like, oh, this shipping's a little bit too pricey. Well, now the stable pledge allows the creators to say, hey, the shipping has gone up. Here's the reasons why. Do you still want to back? And now the backer can say, no, I would like out. The creator says, yeah, no worries, we'll give you 100% of your funds back. And the reason why a lot of creators before weren't doing that is because both Kickstarter and Gamefound and other crowdfunding sources, those sites charge the creators like anywhere from like 5 to like 13% fees, and they usually held on to that after X amount of days. Usually it was like 7 to 14 days. They say, hey, yeah, no, it's locked in, it's too late. But now Gamefound is doing an initiative where they're saying, yeah, if these creators do their due diligence and they make a campaign page and they opt in, this is the biggest thing. So Ghost Galaxy opt in, we will give them the money back, and then they in return the 10% of their creator fees back, basically. And in return, the creators are going to say, yeah, you can opt out with no penalties and get your money back. May not seem like a big deal for some, but we're seeing this first for this game, and then the next game that's also very massive is Gamefound's Awakened Realms, which is like connected to each other. Awakened Realms Tainted Grails, which is going to be another big massive campaign, is also going to be a stable pledge, which it gives comfort if you're like myself and you backed some campaigns of recently that we have seen the shipping double in cost. So won't get too much more. If you want to know more about the stable pledge, let me know. I can send some links. I could also discuss about that. But that's pretty much all of here. They go into the normal risks and challenges and damaged missing items and stuff like that. But overall, this campaign looks like fairly good to me. when I say fairly good, this campaign looks awesome. Like, it's already raised, like I said, 330,000, almost 1,700 backers. Should you back or should you not? In my opinion, if you're a Keyforge fan, I think this is a no-brainer to me. I would recommend backing or going in with a group to help reduce the cost of shipping and get the best price management on that.